Just wrapped up Selling Silicon Valley Group's Winter 2022 Buyer Appointment Off/Challenge. And it's interesting. I know that some of you had messaged me as like, oh, that's awesome. Why are you doing that? That sounds like a really great idea, something like that. And I always thought it was really fascinating how realtors could get into the game, to get into the business, and just start selling homes, just start dealing with $1 million properties without any sort of standards, without any sort of training, without any sort of standard practices to adhere to. And it's a mistake that has honestly nearly cost real estate agents their reputation in the marketplace. I mean, it's very common to hear of people who have had bad experiences, consumers who have had terrible experiences with real estate agents. And truthfully, it's the few that give a bad rap to the many. And the lack of standards in the industry is honestly what's crippling us. It's what's keeping us from really reaching new heights in terms of how we're perceived by the public, the value that real estate agents have, the perception of the value that real estate agents have to the public. And I often equate agents to physicians. Why? Well, number one, I wanted to become a physician. I was on track to be a physician at Stanford. And when you graduate with an undergrad, with a bachelor's degree from any university, then you go to medical school. Well, then after you go to medical school, you don't just get your license. You have to go through residency, you have to go through postdoc, you have to go through all these different hurdles. And then after you do like 10 years of schooling, finally you get to like talk to a patient for the first time. And why is it any different in real estate? You're dealing with $1 million home. True, a life is a lot more important than money, but let's be real. They're both very important things. Like it's the most important financial asset that most people have in their entire lives. And so when you come to the Selling Silicon Valley Group, you're expected to learn how to perform certain procedures, if you will, whether it be negotiating, whether it be how to show a home, like all of these different things. These are standard practices that we teach our agents, and one of them is how to conduct an initial buyer consultation. And it's the cornerstone of the relationship with the buyer. Why? Well, everything starts at the beginning. The groundwork that you lay at that presentation is the groundwork that is going to set your relationship, is going to define your relationship with the buyer moving forward. And so the lack of standards in the industry has caused us to be perceived negatively by the public in a lot of cases. And we, in some small way, are doing our best to change that narrative, especially here in Silicon Valley. And then who knows, maybe outside of Silicon Valley. But right now we're focused on the Bay Area. And the buyer competition was just a friendly way of reminding all the agents that, hey, this is an important piece of your practice. It's an important part of your job. And we wanted to expose those, number one, who didn't know their shit, so that they understand that, oh, fuck, like I actually need to brush up. And then number two, celebrate those that are doing really well. And there's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition. So, why do we have this buyer competition? Well, it's a way to check whether or not the standards are being met by every single individual that's a part of this organization. Because the brokers of 2000, or the brokers of 1990, the brokers of 1980, their goal was very simple. Let's accrue 1,000 bodies into this one office, and let's 1 out of 20. It's math, it's stats. 1 out of 20 will make it. And the training, the resources, everything. It was just, it was a fraction of what the teams nowadays can provide to their agents. And so nowadays, the team, as you've seen, many of you have seen my videos, the team is the broker of the 21st century. Better systems, better support, and we actually have business opportunities. But guess what? The business opportunities go to the ones who actually adhere to the standards and reach a certain level of excellence before they're given the opportunity to work with those clientele. And you're watching this video right now, you aren't on a team, or you're a solo agent, or you're on a team somewhere else in the country, you're not in the Bay Area, whatever. Ask yourself if you have a set of standards for yourself, because I can tell you I didn't. When I got into the business, I thought I could, my charm and my natural talent, my ability, my intelligence was going to win people over. And you know what? It did for a little bit. But it was around year 1.5 that I realized, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. And it was that realization that actually has led me all the way to this point. Because if Danny of 2014 had plugged into what we've built here at Selling Silicon Valley, I would have sold 40 million within my first 2 years of real estate. I sold about half that my first 2 years in real estate. So I could have easily doubled my production if I had the tools and the training and the resources that we currently have. And so that's my goal, is to create that. That's what my goal has always been, is to create a community and an infrastructure for agents, whether you're new, whether you're experienced, anything, for you to be able to come in and build your business the right way. My buddy Isaac Guzman said it best yesterday. He said, Selling Silicon Valley is not here to save anybody's business. We're here, you're there to help build people up. And so shout outs to you, Isaac. And shout outs to all of our guest judges today as well. Monique Stanford, Ken Lutz, and Tyler Miller. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for your time. And thank you for being a part of the growth of the agents at Selling Silicon Valley. I'm going to leave you with this, is that one of our agents actually approached us last week and said, hey, do I really need to do the buyer appointment challenge? And obviously I've talked about standards and everything, but think about this. If you're an agent that's saying, I don't want to do that, or that sounds silly, like adhering to standards, or becoming a professional, like I don't want to do that. I just want to do my own thing. Awesome. Well, think about it this way. The only reason to adhere to standards, the only reason to participate in a competition that's going to promote you adhering to standards is if you want to grow. So the only reason to do any of that is if you want to grow. If you're fine with your business the way it is right now, awesome. Don't change a thing. But if you want to grow, find the community, find the standards that are going to promote and challenge you and push you to grow. This is Danny Gould, everyone. Selling Silicon Valley. Stay legendary, everybody.